Celeb Savant is a career retrospective type interview focusing on singers, actors, and industry experts. Join Barrett Edelstein now as he dives into the entertainment world.
Aria Cook is an Australian-based singer-songwriter, is an exciting emerging talent known for her captivating vocals, skilled keyboard playing, and impressive songwriting. Accumulating extensive live experience, Aria has performed at major festivals and top-tier venues throughout Brisbane. She has had success with her debut single Vampire, as well as the single Come Over with US hitmaker Tanner Sutherland, affirming her status as a rising star in the global music scene. Sonic Keys is an Australian singer and songwriter. His authentic blend of soul-stirring falsetto vocals and contemporary piano style captivates his audience, inspiring them to reach for the stars with every note. He has carved out a unique path in the music industry, exploring crossover genres such as piano, house, and trip-hop. Sonic Keys has successfully sought number one on various prominent unsigned artist charts across the globe, including in Australia and the United States. Up next on Celeb Savant, discussing their individual journeys in the entertainment world, and the latest single that they collaborated on, The Long Way Home, is Aria Cook and Sonic Keys.
Aria, first, where are you in the world and how are you doing?
I'm in Brisbane, Australia, and yeah, I'm doing really well.
And Nick?
Just down the road from Aria, actually, in Brisbane, north side of Brisbane, and doing really, really well.
So, Nick, where does the stage name Sonic Keys come from? How did you choose that?
I've got to actually thank my wife and some lovely cherry daiquiris that we had one evening at a local place called Junk Bath. We were thinking of a name basically that'd be pretty cool rather than obviously Nick Pound. I mean, Nick Pound is a nice name. Also, my parents gave it to me, but we thought it'd be a good idea to try and come up with sort of maybe a stage name or something really, really nice. So yeah, we thought piano, we thought keys, and then my wife, Nikki, basically came up with the name Sonic, and that's how we came up with it basically. And as you can hear in the name, there's an I-C-K in there, believe it or not, which is coincidental.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so Nick, staying with you, at what age, whether as a child or teenager, did you feel cool? I want to be in this creative world, and how did that journey progress to where we are currently?
Sure. So I started singing and playing piano when I was 7, so it was very much sort of classically orientated. When I got through to teenagehood, about 15, I started songwriting and started sort of singing. So I think through that phase when I was 15, we started having sort of the idol sort of phase coming through, like Pop Idol, Australian Idol, I think it's called South African Idol, where you are.
Yeah,
we had all that, and American Idol, we had all that coming through, and then it sort of started getting for me, I thought, oh, I can actually write a song, I can actually start doing stuff with this. And then age 19, when I started coming over to Australia, I started writing Starlight You, which is now one of the big songs on Spotify. And I thought that would it sort of started going from there, and just hadn't stopped.
So when you wrote that first song, were you surprised that it was something that you could do, or was it just a natural progression of the creative brain?
Well, I think it was only 4 years that I'd actually started it, so I'll be honest with you, I was quite surprised at how it sort of came out. It was just from a backing track that I heard, and literally I just started singing it, and literally my mum even came into my room and said, what is that melody and lyrics that you've written? Just started from there, and then started recording studios and things like that. Like I visited Daniel Jones's studio from Savage Garden years ago, and just went from there.
Aria, over to you. At what age, as a child or teenager, did your journey progress, and how did that lead to where we are?
Yeah, so I was around 11 years old when I started getting piano lessons, and I'd been doing that for a few years, and then I was like in year 9, around 14, and I decided I really wanted to ace this music assessment, and I thought, well, I'd been doing piano, but I wanted to kind of expand on that, and I was like, how can I get an A? Maybe I'll try singing. I sang for the first time. I hadn't had a vocal lesson before, and I got really positive feedback. Like, my singing teacher was quite surprised at how good I was. piano kind of served as that gateway for me to start singing. And then from there, I started to live perform and then, do bands and that type of thing. So I think, I felt like I owed it to myself to kind of give singing a go. And you can't really shut me up now. And I do like every weekend. So
when you got the good feedback regarding your singing at that time, was it a surprise to you, or did you think, okay, beforehand, I can sing?
I think I was still trying to reconcile, I think I have this talent, but also trying to really, I guess, not be too much of an advocate for myself, because I'm very much like self-critical. So I really wanted to be realistic about my abilities. So in a way, I was kind of taking what she said with a grain of salt, but I just I felt like I owed it to myself to at least give it a go and see if I could be good at it. And I'm glad I did, because it's honestly a really big part of my life now. But definitely something I, had to learn to kind of do in terms of talking myself up, I guess, and embracing my skill rather than constantly being self-critical.
Oh, absolutely. So we've all got this self-critical brain. I call it my parrot on my shoulder squawking at me. Nick, how does your parrot squawk, and how have you over time, if you have, what are the tools you've used to get it to shut up?
Well, I think, as we know with parrots, a lovely good thing are sort of crackers and food, first of all. No, I've basically been, obviously talking with the parrot a little bit, if we could try and metaphorically use that.
Yeah.
And just basically trying to enforce, because my parrot very much is very sort of negative sometimes. Like, I've had self-confidence and anxiety issues. So I've been combating that with basically, achievements, goals, things that I've done. So talking to it and actually eventually it does actually shut up. Basically, in a way.
And Aria, your parrot, have you already mentioned some of it, but anything else to add of how you've over time allowed it to keep quiet?
I think it's kind of a fake it till you make it kind of sentiment. I think, because as I said, I am a really shy-natured person and a bit of a perfectionist at times. And I think in highly competitive environments such as the music industry, musicians are really vulnerable to that, like, self-critique and self-assessment and comparison. Comparison is, the thief of joy. And I personally find that to be a really poignant problem. But I think just putting myself out there, as much as it is really scary and anxiety invoking, I guess, like putting myself out there, live gigging as much as I can, exposing myself to that environment has really helped me become a lot more confident and comfortable performing. And I think that has really helped me be a lot more secure in my skills.
So you both referenced that attitude of, I'm going to step out there and try in what you're doing. I feel that a lot of people in the world, a large amounts of the populations, they always talk of something, but they never actually do it. And then they self-saboteur themselves or talk themselves down or out of doing that specific thing. I feel one of the reasons is because, okay, now I'm going to be seen. I'm going to be on the spotlight. People are going to look at me, see me, expect more from me. For you both, having been brave, and I use that word brave because it is being brave to put yourselves out there and allow the passion to flow through, what suggestions would you give people who are always talking themselves out of stepping into that space? Nick, you first.
I'd probably say, well, a bit like our song, which is basically for personal growth, just don't give up. That's the first thing I would say. Do not give up. Try and keep going with something. The amount of times that I've sort of given up on certain things, the list goes on and on and on. And eventually you get to a point and you're like, what's my worth? Should I be doing this? So and again, you talk yourself out of it. So I'd say don't give up. Keep going with it. I think the other one would be just trial and error. Just keep trying, just keep pushing yourself, because eventually you're going to get to a point where you can actually make a difference, and you start knowing your rhythm, you start knowing your routine, you start knowing what's going to work, what's not going to work, and you start learning from it. Every single experience that you have, you will be better every single time. That's probably the best thing how I can describe it.
Aria, anything to add?
Yeah, I think totally that's very true. I think if you don't try at something, or at least attempt something, you're never going to get better. And I think starting small, you don't have to throw yourself in the deep end. But yeah, starting small. If live gigging is, for example, like your kind of goal, but you're too afraid, like open mic nights. That's how Nick and I met. And yeah, but they can really serve as like a small scale, low key environment. And yeah, I'd say start small, but give it a go and just see how you like it.
I like that, because sometimes people actually have these dreams or passions, but when they actually action into it, it's not what they actually enjoy, the actual movement and motion of it. So you've referenced this already, that you met Nick at open night mics. So Nick, handing over to you. So when you first saw Aria and experienced each other, how did that interaction happen, the story, and then how did the collaboration happen?
Sure. So back in 2022, thanks to my wife, I actually went to my first open mic night, which was at a place called Thirsty Chiefs Brewing Company, and they're still there at the moment. So big shout out to them in North Lakes. And it was my first open mic night that I went to. So I wasn't playing piano. I was just literally went for a drink and saw what it was all about. And the first person I saw up performing was actually was actually Aria. And I remember very, very much that the last song, obviously, she did, which was Flame Trees by Cold Chisel, which is one of the sort of standard ones she always finishes off with. And yes, and I was really, really impressed, because I was trying to see where there more guitarists, keyboardists, and yeah, just her coming up first of all was fantastic. And it gave me a lot of confidence to be able to then go back and in weeks to come to be able to obviously perform and everything like that. And then just over the last couple of years, I've gone to Aria's, performances, and Aria's come to mine a couple of times. I've been slowly getting there as well. And I had a couple of songs basically lined up, and thought Aria would be perfect to sing them. And so then we basically started chatting, got together, started singing, and yeah, the harmonies and everything, that's just been incredible. It really has. So that's pretty much how it happened. It was amazing.
Aria, your version or your anything to add?
I was really honored that Nick had asked me to collaborate with him, because songwriting is such a personal thing, and it can be really, I know personally that like sharing my songs with someone, it can be quite a confronting thing, because songwriting is so personal and so individual, and you're talking about personal experiences or what have you. So yeah, I was really honored that Nick had invited me to be a part of it. Yeah, it's been a really, really fun few months. So yeah.
Aria, staying with you, you've referenced this. How do you create a song?
I think for me, I typically start with chords or a musical kind of, I guess, riff. And at the moment, I'm trying to really work on my lyricism, because I know some people start with lyrics first and then they go to the music. For me, I think melody and the top line and the chords are how I begin to form a song. But I guess it depends. It's really dependent on, kind of what's happening in your life at the moment. Like sometimes I'll think of a really cool line and then I'll kind of write a song to that, almost like a little brief for myself. Or I'll start with like a melody and then put chords to it, and then I put lyrics. So it depends really, but typically the top line is how I like to start when I write a song.
Nick?
Well, for me, it can be anything from going into cities and hearing a truck sort of, compressed braking, or hearing something in a department store or a clothes store that sort of starts it off for me. And then I sort of end up having to get in the car, and because I'm driving, I can't actually sing the song. So I have to wait till I get home to the keyboard to be able to then put the idea down. And honestly, it's so agonizing when you want to do it. Sometimes can be late at night as well. I keep my wife up sometimes 1:30 in the morning when I've got an idea, so I have to put it down on my phone. But yeah, it can be anything from a verse to mainly chorus is where I mainly sort of get the ideas from, and then I build it from there. It can also be chords playing on the piano. So yeah, I honestly get my ideas from here, there, and everywhere. It can be anywhere in the city, countryside. I hear another song, inspiration. Yeah, it just comes from anywhere. It just hits anytime, any place.
So when it does hit anytime, any place, say, for example, you're at the shops, do you stop what you're doing, drive home immediately and then try and do it? Or do you keep that in your brain, strumming along or tuning along until you get home? How does that work?
Yeah, it's quite painful, to be honest. But no. I mean, thank goodness for the iPhones, we've got the audio recording. So sometimes if it's not a actual set of chords, it's just like some lyrics or a melody, I do sing it. And honestly, I do try and go back to my car and do it, because the times I've done it in public and people have been giving me dirty looks, it's quite interesting. And like, I've just got a song idea, so I'm just putting it down, but people don't understand. But yeah, it really does depend where I am. But I'm so grateful for the iPhone having that audio sort of, dictaphone, being able to use it. So more times than not, I try and get that idea down, because our brains just get filled up every day with so much stuff, and then you miss that idea and opportunity. And honestly, it can just, I'm not going to say it's a matter of life or death, but it can really be a big one that you really want to perform.
The song that you guys have released together, tell us the inspiration behind it. Who wrote it? Was it completely collaborative? Nick, you first.
So it came up a few months in 2019 after my mum passed away from cancer. I was in Florida at the time, and I was sat down at a piano. There was one in the villa, believe it or not. I was writing a whole lot of ideas, and the last idea that I sort of came up with was the chords for The Long Way Home. Then came back to Brisbane, I think it was September, October 2019, sort of just basically walked along the Brisbane River and got the idea for a set of lyrics, and decided that it was going to be pretty much a collaboration. Someone else was going to sing a duo with me. And as I said, it took me a few years to try and find the right person to be able to sing with it. And that's obviously where Aria came in. And then once we obviously started singing the chorus together, I had to stop because it was just incredible. And Aria's been fantastic with the fact that we've managed to mold it into a certain song in the way we have. We've had Stuart, who's produced with Shepherd, and the Veronicas behind it. It's been incredible. And yeah, that's pretty much how it happens. So yeah, it's been a joint effort to be able to get this song to where it is, and honestly, couldn't be prouder of it right now.
Aria, anything to add?
Yeah, no, Nick said it all. Like, meeting at that open mic night, I think, was where it really started. And then Nick shared this song with me, and I just, immediately, I knew it was something I wanted to be a part of. And I think it's something we can all resonate with, and there's so much universal truth in the song. So yeah, it was really a no-brainer. And yeah, I'm glad that he asked me. Really, really honored. And it's been such a fun collaboration, and we've got, more stuff coming. So I've really enjoyed our partnership.
Aria, first, what's coming up over the next few months? I know it's very secretive in your guys' world. What can you tell us is coming up next?
Well, we've got another duet, another collaboration, another track. Anything you want to add, Nick?
Yeah, so we do have another song that we've done with Stuart that's going to be coming through. Won't give too much away at the moment because this is sort of semi-secretive. But yes, we do have another song coming along, and yeah, we're going to be going through the whole process again, which will be fun. Honestly, it's not for the faint-hearted. I'll be honest with you. I'm sure Ari would agree with me. When you release a song, it really does take a lot out of you. But in a very good way, because you learn stuff from it, and you're able to sort of be able to move forward with it. But yeah, for us, we've got a new song coming out, so hopefully there'll be another video as well. So yeah, and it's very heartfelt, this next one. It really is. So you thought Long Way Home was nice and heartfelt. This next one, honestly, is very unique as well.
You mentioned that it's not for the faint-hearted, and you've learned a lot of things releasing a song. So what are the couple of things that you have learned, Nick?
Well, firstly, to be able to work with another amazing artist. I mean, I started doing some collabs about a year ago. So I've worked with Nervin Lotley, who's from Sydney. I've worked with Ian Buller, who's from Far North Queensland here in Australia. And Ari is his being amazing and being part of that. And it's helped me to work more with people in the music business and be able to, work out what is good, what is bad. It's very much like life. There's ups and downs, but you know what? It's been very rewarding, and just for recognition, it's been incredible, because this is something I really wanted to learn. I wanted to learn how to work with other artists. I wanted to learn how to work with producers, musicians, because at the end of the day, the music biz is getting harder. It's getting more difficult, and I believe if you work with other people, you learn a lot more. And you never know when that right bit of information, that right bit of time will be able to help you. And yeah, Aria's been amazing.
So, Aria, what have you learned from the ups and downs and releasing singles? Anything to add to that?
I think so much of what you learn when you release a song, or when you create, produce, and release a song, it really is the entrepreneurial stuff and the digital marketing strategies and everything. Like, when you're a musician or a artist, you really have to wear a lot of different hats, and it goes beyond those like discipline specific skills. Yeah. It goes beyond the songwriting. It goes beyond the singing and the piano. It's you really have to become like everything all at once. You have to be an accountant and a social media expert. And I think learning to navigate the creative with the entrepreneurial side of things is something, is really challenging, but you do gain a lot of new skills through that.
I love me a CD. I still budget for my CDs every month. For me, it's an energy exchange to you guys to say thank you for all the hard work that you do. I love the journey of the choice, the unpacking, the listening to song 1 to whatever number, the little booklet, all those various things. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, massive upsurge of physical around the world. Last year alone, or a couple of years ago alone in the UK, 5.9 million vinyls sold, the biggest since 1990. Also last year in the UK, there's a basket of products that they gauge for exchange purposes. For tax purposes. And obviously, exchanges need to be high in order for a product to be in that basket. And because of the upsurge of CDs again, CDs have been put back in that basket. And the research is showing that it's the teenagers, the younger kids that are diving into this world, not the older nostalgic people. And then obviously, as you've referenced, we've also got streaming platforms that people consume music on. Aria, first, what is your observations of the landscape at the moment?
I think there's so many, that it's such a complex duality with the digitalization of the music industry, because on the one hand, like, it does sort of change, or it does change how we consume music. I mean, we have, catalogs, vast catalogs of music at the click of a button. And that also means that our music has greater visibility. But at the same time, market saturation, and people are all kind of doing the same things, and it kind of intensifies that competition. It's not entirely surprising that I think physical sales have we're seeing like a bit of a comeback with that, because we all know the algorithm bias around streaming platforms. I think they're trying to change that at the moment, but there's drawbacks and advantages to almost everything. I think one of the things is trying to create that point of difference so that you can kind of stand out in the crowd, because I think, like I said, everybody's kind of doing those same things. So it's, it can be really difficult to get meaningful interactions with audiences.
Nick, anything to add to that?
I think Aria pretty much said it very, very well. But I mean, it's nice to see vinyl and CD all coming back in. I was at my local store sort of not so long ago, and it was lovely seeing a vinyl of one of my favorite artists, Sam Smith. I mean, it was a bit on the expensive side. It was a collector's edition, but it was really good to see. But yeah, I think Aria said it right. It's become very saturated, and it's become, I mean, the thing for me is I've always loved hearing new releases every single week, and when they've come out, it's been great, because you know what the trends are going and what's going, things like that. Of late, it's been really, really difficult, because obviously it's the same artist, it's the same song that sort of has come out now, and I haven't seen very many songs, sort of new ones coming out that's starting to trickle through. I mean, obviously Aria and I have seen it with The Long Way Home. It's going to take a few months for maybe something to happen again. But yeah, it's definitely gotten slower. I feel like the cost has gone up, but because of Spotify, things are cheaper. There's more people doing the same thing. There's more artists doing exactly the same sort of sound. So yeah, as Ari said, you have to try and differentiate yourself still, but it's really difficult when it's sort of times by 10 or times by 20. And I think it's now, is it 40,000 plus songs every single day being loaded? And I think I think it's gone up even more now, and it's getting more difficult to be able to do that. But, there's still opportunity there. You've just got to find it.
Yeah, and it's actually, if I've heard it's 100,000 a day.
Yes, sorry, 100,000. Yeah.
Yes. But I think one of the main things is for an artist is to stay authentic, stay who they are, because then that is already a differentiation, because there's no one else like you. There's no one else like either of you. So if you already stay firm in your authenticity, that's already a major differentiator, because you're not trying to be someone else.
Yeah, I think that, the audiences, consumers, like they're smart enough to recognize when someone is genuine and sincere, and when they're not. And I think, yeah, that's really true, to stay authentic, because people are ultimately going to resonate with you when you're real, because people want realness, because humans are imperfect, and we stumble through life, and as does everybody, and not just musicians. So it's, yeah, totally. I think staying authentic and being real.
Nick, did you want to add something? Or
yeah, I was just going to say, obviously, yeah, being authentic, definitely true, and also just being yourself. I think I'm finding, because I'm a very honest, genuine kind of person, and I want to try and show that to people. I know, yeah, obviously being real, absolutely, definitely. And obviously when you're on stage, we hear it, you can be somebody else, and obviously things like that. But obviously, I think best to be yourself, and then start from there, and then see, and then authenticity will just come, because you'll just be natural, and you're not sorry, I only said fake it till you make it, but still doing that, and then keep going, and then you get the authenticity going.
The difference is, for me, is that, yes, faking it till you make it, but being who you are. So what that means is, when it comes to social media and that, no filters. I love this game. I know if I had to ask you each of this question in 2 years, 5 minutes, 50 years, I know your answer will be different every time. I understand that, and I recognize that. I'm not saying favorite. I'm saying top of mind. Aria, if you had to push play to 5 artists once we finish this conversation, and if you can think of specific songs of those artists, otherwise just the name of the artists, who would those artists be? And if you can think of songs, what would the songs be?
Really tough question. I think I'd probably go Crowded House. There's a song called When You Come. Love that song. I'm going to say Kelly Clarkson, a song called Gone. The Weeknd, Secrets. Duffy, Warwick Avenue. And 5, I'm going to say Shepherd, Catalina.
Okay, nice mix. Nick?
Well, my first one always I go to is Sam Smith, Lay Me Down. I always go for that one because I just absolutely love singing it. We have an Australian artist here in Australia. His name is Rick Price, and he's done a beautiful ballad called Heaven Knows. That would be my second one. Third one would be a band who I absolutely love. That would be Coldplay, and I would probably say In My Place. Can't forget Simply Red in there as well with Stars. I absolutely love that one. I love belting that one out. I think last one would be, at the moment, Teddy Swims Lose Control, because just the range he puts in that, I absolutely love it. So,
Nick, the podcast is listened to throughout the world. As a final message, what would you like to say?
Just to people, just don't give up. I know we've got some tough times coming ahead, but honestly, from singing since I was 7, being now over 30 years of doing this, just don't give up, keep going, and whatever you do, just get the support from people, and honestly, it'll pay off dividends in the end. Aria?
Totally. I think start small. I think if you think you might be, good at it, it's you owe it to yourself to try. That way, you can't go through life with like, oh, I wish I did that, because I've done that with certain things where I'd wish I had allowed myself an opportunity and I got scared, and I really regret that. So I think just give it a go. Start small, but at least, you owe it to yourself to try.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Celeb Savant. Please follow Barrett on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Celeb Savant. That's CelebSavant.